Morning, Space Scout friends! I've been ferreting around in the studio, and if you remember back in June when I moved in here and all the space that I had, it was amazing. You want to see the state of it now. But the ferreting involves actually not ferrets, but badgers today. It being midwinter here in the UK, I decided I was going to paint and draw using both my watercolour paints and the Inktense watercolour pencils that I quite often use, but haven't used them together in combination for quite a while, so I just wanted to uplift what I'd already done with the pencils. Anyway, I'll show you. Let's get on with it, shall we? You may know I use the Tombow Food and Asuka hard-tipped brush pen for my black lines, and once that's dried I can rub out the pencil and get on with the Inktense colouring, which is probably the thing that takes the longest, but it is quite therapeutic too. I could sit and do this all day, but dishes don't put themselves away in my house, so something's got to give. For the sky I used 3 different blues, decreasing in darkness from indigo at the top to sea blue at the horizon. I was going to do a really starry sky with white paint after, and I totally forgot, so I guess that's a job for another day. I like to make my tree trunks a little bit abstract with a base colour and then lines that can run up and down. I always used to draw my trunks with the lines horizontal, and that works really well with dip pen or for sketching. These are really easy trees to try if you want to give it a go. Just stick to the simple shapes, pick a base colour and then make some uppy downy marks. Sometimes people get really put off making trees because of the foliage, but it doesn't have to be there, like in this composition. You'll see that I've used multiple tones and layers in the dry colouring, and that gives the picture some depth. These lights weren't really bright enough when I added the water, so I ended up putting some cadmium yellow from my watercolour set directly onto the fairy lights. Here's a before adding the water, and at the end we can do a comparison. When adding the water, the layers of colour start to merge and do these magical things. I'm using my brushes loosely so that I have areas of dry pencil marks that never see the water, and underneath the watery bits there are brush marks and pencil marks. I think one of the biggest learning curves when you start an art journey is to know when to stop and let the materials and the brushes do their thing. Because don't forget, you're in a sort of weird love triangle with these things. There's you, the paint, and your surface. The black over the badger eyes is too dark, so I had to remove some with a damp brush. And what you can see here is me taking pigment off and not putting it on. Spectacle reflections. I'm darkening up the bottom of those tree trunks just to give them a little bit more form. There's a little bit of smoke coming from the chimney. I love this wood burner and kettle. And before water and after water. What do you think? Hello Space Cats! I've been an illustrator all my life. Well, perhaps not my whole life. And I'm here to show you how I do things, because sharing the love is how we learn, right? I live on a small island off the coast of England, which some think is stuck in the 1950s, but that suits me just fine. I spend my days painting, drinking proper tea, and booping my best buddy. I've been making picture books since 2012 and now have 15 or so published, and I illustrate all things woodland animal, sea creatures and fairy lore. I have playlists on how to make picture books and illustrator tutorials. So if quirky and whimsical and playful describes you, then grab a piece of paper and your weapon of choice and let's get creative. So at the end of this beautiful sunny morning, I've completed what I tried to do yesterday but neglected because I left my reading glasses at home, which is never a good thing when you're trying to work, methinks. I'm off to chain my reading glasses to my neck so I don't forget them next time. I will see you next week. Nanu nanu.